Hello, everybody. This is a video for Art 1 with Miss Olson. I'm going to give you instructions for your final project for the year and instruct you to do some brainstorming and a plan for that final project. I will give you more information right before you start your final project and send you materials. Our final project is going to be something I call a mandala. Um, the mandala that we're doing is something called a personal mandala, where it is supposed to express something about you and your interests. You can see that this person created all sorts of symbols to express parts of their life that they're interested in. And you can see they created a three-part division in their mandala. So you can see up on the left-hand side, there is a soccer ball, there is a sun, there's a planet, and there's these really cute little symbols of arms holding a heart and with different colored skin tones. Also, another thing I'm going to ask from you is to do a gradation either between colors or from one color to light, or going from really dark to really light in a color. This person also did some just decorative elements using these little star shapes, which look really great. They're not her main thing, they're just a part that kind of decorates it. Your instructions are going to be to do your plan by this Friday and your final draft by May 29th, which is the Friday or sometime during finals week. So you are to create an original work of art that represents something about who you are. Choose at least 3 aspects of yourself to represent using symbols. The other option that you'll get is to pick one thing that you're interested in and kind of make that the theme of your whole mandala. So I'll talk more about that in a second. I'd like you to use radial design, and I'd also like you to use color gradations or value gradations. So one thing you can try is taking some sort of basic symbol, like a really tried and true symbol, like the peace sign, and dressing it up a little bit. This young lady put these beautiful waves going through hers. She also made a 5-part division right here and represented some things about her family, where she lives, and the flowers represented her family. So it's a really gorgeous looking one. Also, her colored pencil use practically looks like paint, so that's something you might want to try. Use unique images that represent your interests, your hopes, your dreams, your passions. There's a whole list on the right-hand side, and you can see that this student chose some of her interests. I think this is, oops, sorry, I don't know why I went back. This little bar is like a computer monitor, a computer like CPU. She has the covers of books that she likes. She has pencils. She loves to draw. Got little music notes for her music. So you can see she's picking all sorts of things that are interesting. And then she did this little pattern in the background. I'm not sure what that is, but I know that the center part represented her spirituality and religion. She's also got this beautiful gradation from purple to pink in the background, just to kind of spice up that area. Here is a very different one, but it still expresses something about the person, right? So this is a very unique image. Never seen anything quite like it since. There's some pyramids, there's these masked faces, there's this crazy looking eye design. It's got a 3-part division. He also made a border with some dripping blood. I do not know why. It's very scary and creepy, but kind of fun at the same time. So I suggest trying borders if you need something just to finish your work off. This young lady did this gorgeous design with the little angel wings around a star. There's a flower, there's some vines, there's some stars. It looks so pretty in the kind of border area. She used a lot of gradations within the flower, within the background, and within each of those little stars and wings and the background stars. You can see that each one of them has its own little gradation shape around it. It looks really good. Organic is okay. By organic, I mean wiggly, natural lines. Some people love to work with rulers and straight edges and compasses, but it's okay to just go ahead and use your natural drawing skill and place things as best you can and not worry too much about it being like really geometric. Okay, so I wanted to point this out. People often try this, and there's nothing wrong with these works of art. I love both of them. I would gladly put them on my wall, but they are not radial. They are symmetrical balance. So you need to make sure that you are planning something that has at least 3 segments or more if you want. Okay, what makes good design? When I ask my class, I wish I could ask you guys right now, but when I ask my class which one of these they think is a better design, pretty much without fail, everyone says the one on the right is a good looking design and the one on the left is problematic. And I agree. I think there's something about this. The shapes are all different sizes and they don't really balance each other out. And there's so many colors. Now, there's nothing wrong with using colors, but you have to do something to make them feel like they go. And you probably know if you can manage to use 10 or 12 colors like the person on the right did. If you feel like I don't really know what to do with all these colors, then by all means, pick just a few basic colors and stick with those. Limit your colors and repeat them. On the right-hand side, nice rich color. There's a lot of variety in the color, but she repeated enough parts that it makes it look great and looks beautiful together, right? There's the black and white parts, there's the light green and dark green parts, and then there's the backgrounds and the matching opposite sides and the moon and the sun areas. So try to maybe make your objects similar sized, at least some of them, and use limited colors that repeat in some way too. Don't just use every color just because it's there in front of you. Words are okay if they're part of a pattern or texture, but you shouldn't use them as your main symbols. Okay, this young lady did a nice job using the words, kind of, I think of some songs she liked, as a background texture and shading in them. So that was a good way to use words without taking away from the main symbols, the images you're creating. Also, I'd like you, here's an example of someone who just straight up used a lot of words instead of doing images. Now this has a lot going for it. It's a cool design. The color use is really nice and intense in most places, but the words, I would have asked them in retrospect to use some images. This one has got a gorgeous, elegant design. I love the way that they combine those 3 symbols, but the colored pencil is poor quality. So you want to make sure your coloring is as good as you can make it and use some color to color gradations or color to white gradations. The border really needed to be worked on in this one. It just was kind of like a single line, probably drawn with a compass. So I really suggest that you guys spend some time either coloring with a pencil or coloring with colored pencils, or you can even paint it if you want. These two, in my opinion, are, they have too many colors going on and they should have stayed within the circle rather than going outside the circle and kind of distracting us from the basic design. They have some good things going for them, but overall, I think that they could have reduced their use of color. If one good way to do it is say pick blue and do a light blue and a dark blue and white or something and stick with that, or 2 colors even, but not like all 10 of the available colors. I would like you also to avoid really basic symbols. Now, this is a gorgeous design, nothing wrong with it, but the symbols are really things we've all seen a lot of times. So things like hearts, stars, basic flower designs, the rectangle building skylines, simplified palm trees. Avoid these unless you get really creative with how you're doing them. Also, this is a gorgeous geometric design, but I'm not getting what it's about. I don't know what the theme is. I don't know what parts of this person's life it was supposed to represent. It's okay to do partly geometric. It actually probably helps your design, but create some symbols that are drawings of objects or, symbolic images that help us understand what you're passionate about. Each part should be symbolic of some part of your life. So this is another beautifully done mandala, but it's not unique. I want you to make something unique. This is a celebration of somebody's favorite video game, but there's no unique images in it. So it's just somebody appropriating the images that somebody else created. And I don't want you to do that. I want you to create your own images. This is also beautiful work. It's got a few radial aspects, but it's really not a radial design at all. It's got like the sun design and the flowers sort of point outward, but it is great looking. Also, love to have this one on my wall. Nothing wrong with it as a work of art, but I want you to do radial design. So one thing I'd like you to do is later play this video back and stop at the screen and choose at least 3 areas of your life to represent through symbols. And there's a whole great list of symbols here. Or you can choose a certain theme and create 3 or more symbols representing just that single theme, which is what I did in my example. I chose native plants of the redwood forest. floor of the redwood forest. But there's many, many things you can do. I want you to read through these and kind of do a brainstorm list and think about the things you might like. You could write something down for each one and then pick 3, or you could say, you know, I'm going to do a mandala just about my family members, or I'm going to celebrate this culture that interests me, or my faith or spirituality, whatever, okay? So I want you to do a little work brainstorming. Just write it down in your folder or your binder. And then I want you to do some planning. Represent your life, your interests, your past, your future, use reference pictures. And again, there's a whole list of things to avoid, like marijuana leaf symbols, company logos, swastikas, believe it or not, have shown up in artwork, or other things that are just inappropriate for school, okay? All right, so other than doing the brainstorm, what I want you to do this week is to create a mandala plan. And I sat myself down and created a little mandala plan on the left with a theme, which is the redwood forest floor. I've been hiking a lot and really enjoying the plants and trying to identify them and take photos of them. So I decided to create a little image of a mandala I'd like to do with wild ginger, redwood sorrel, and trillium, as well as some of the pollinators that pollinate them. They use both ants and certain flies and gnats. So in my border, I did flies carrying their seeds, and some of the little pollinators I've actually taken pictures of in the forest. So I want you to do this. I went ahead and folded the top of a normal sheet of paper down, or you could just do it in the middle of a piece of paper, you know, your sketchbook page. And I used the top of a Tupperware container to make my outside circle, and I just sketched in my other border circle. And I divided it into 3 parts first, and then I started drawing things, and I happened to figure out that a lot of forest plants happen to have 3 segments, and that worked out really well. So I just used those over and over again to make a little design that kind of represents the plants of the forest floor and their pollinators. So kids, I want you to turn this in by Friday, and let's see, that would be May 8th. And as well as, you know, do a brainstorm just so you can kind of figure out what kind of things you'd like to represent. All right, kids, I'd like you to stay safe. I miss you, and I hope all of you are staying well. Thank you.